Muy buenas tardes a todos. Es un honor para la facultad. It's an honor for the School of Architecture to receive Kongjian Yu. I expect I have said it correctly. I would like to say that I had the possibility to meet Dr. Yu at the University of Pekín. We have invited him to come here. We didn't know it was going to be so soon, so we are very happy you are here with us. There's a great expectation in the community to know about the way you work, the methods you use, and to speak about Sponge City and all the methodology that has been part of your research and that can be, that all around the world have been introduced to everybody through your books, and particularly through the magazine that you have at the University of Beijing, and of the project that's here, Turenscape, for everybody, para cualquiera que lo quiera conocer. Aquí está la información on Turenscape. That's the office at the University of Beijing, the research and the practical office that Dr. Yu has in Beijing. So, welcome to Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México. A pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Where's the controller? So it is my greatest honor to be invited to share my experience, which I have done accumulated in the past 20 years. I came to Mexico City 2006. Actually, I drove all the way from Cancun. I spent a whole week, run through the jungle and come to Mexico City. So I love this country, I love the culture, and even love the color, the same color, the Chinese color. Great color. You will see I use in my project. Is it on? Yeah. So we share a lot of things. We have very ancient culture, we have very ancient wisdom, and we also have this respect with nature. And I think that even people say we share the same people actually. Back a long time ago, maybe 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, actually people come from Asia, mainland China, all the way to Mexican, to South America. And I did find some clues here. We share the same dragon, actually. The same kind of dragons, the water dragon. We all know how to deal with water. We have all kind of similar climate, the dry season, the wet season. And we share the same food. China lived on corn. The corn was introduced to China just about 400 years ago, and it became a major support, a major food for the people, for the Chinese double the population at that time. So that I think it is a great honor to come here to share what we have done in China, and this can be also be done here. And you have, as I heard, you have many issues about water, pollution, and flood and drought. So all my project is about how to deal with these problems, how to meet the challenges of flood. That's why I define my own profession, landscape architecture, as the art of survival. Yeah, it's not the art of ornament. Yeah, it's art of survival. Yeah. Is it not ready? I mean, is the controller? Where's the controller? Okay. Where's the controller? I mean, slide controller. So my topic will be the deep form and deep connection. Slide? Yes, controller. I mean, huh? Next. I saw that you have controller. Yes. Okay, so. Thank you. And maybe this light? Yeah, light down. Turn off the light. Yes. So people might think we are connected today. We have cell phone, we have our highline, we have all these highways. We are connected. But such connection is actually very shallow. There's a movie called Beautiful Mind. There's an American movie, Beautiful Mind. And there's a word that is, the relationship even between man and woman becomes such a simple. There's no more deep connection. Right? That's what you can read. That's so simple. But we are actually being cut off particularly from the natural system. Particularly between man's daily life with water, with natural process. And because of this kind of disconnection with nature, we actually have all this problem. So it's an issue of survival. Over 80% of the Chinese cities are suffering air pollution. Over 60% of the Chinese cities are suffering flood every year. And drought at the same time. Flood, drought. And 75% of water is polluted. Maybe here it's the same problem. 75% of water is polluted. And the habitat loss. 50% of wetland disappeared in the last 50 years. So these are the problems. And conventionally, we try to use this solution based on the industrial technology. Concrete, pipes, sewage plant, we try to solve this problem. But this conventional solution, we call it gray infrastructure, are so expensive. They are expensive to maintain, they are expensive to construct. You see, China in the past 40 years, annually, we use over 50% of cement of the world every year, and 30% of steel and energy of the world. And it creates such a kind of shallow form landscape. There's no deep connection with nature. That's why we need a kind of revolution. This revolution is to recover the big connection with nature, which I call big feet revolution, as against the little feet, gentrified little feet kind of aesthetics, values. Big feet, we need to be healthy, we need to be productive, and you see that, and even rustic, but they are healthy. It's healthy. That's little feet. For over 2,000 years, Chinese high elite culture values this kind of culture. Little feet, pink, pale, white face, narrow waist, unhealthy. And these healthy people, but we ignore it. We don't trust it. We think this is rustic. This is not useful. Yeah. Nature-based solution is what I mean. The big feet. The big feet. Healthy, productive, high performance, low maintenance. So that's create deep form. That's deep form versus shallow form. The deep form is human. It means human desire. Is built upon nature system, based on nature, based on ecological process. While the shallow form have to maintain. It's not high performance, it's low performance, and have to maintain with energy, with water, with high labor cost. And this shape, this shallow form can be at a national scale. Look at the Chinese urbanization. 70% of the population today, particularly in the past 40 years, are concentrated in this delta area, in the river basin. And they are all under the risk of flood, 70%. And 70% of GDP is produced in this flood risky area. So that's a kind of unrelated with nature. We are conflicting nature in order to create so-called life, in so-called development. The timeless interdependence of human nature and human nature has built up the deepest bond between peasant and the farmland. Therefore, the creation of deep form can be inspired by the wisdom of peasantry, irrigation, cultivation, field making, and fertilizing, even fertilizing. So all these create a deep connection to the nature. That's, but today we have worked out all these kind of deep connections. As here. For the over past 20 years, my firm and my university, we have tested this kind of deep form based on nature's wisdom, inspired by the ancient wisdom, create over 500 projects in over 200 cities, global-wise, but mainly in China, in all cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and everywhere in China, almost. That's the distribution of our project nationwide. And we have now about 600 professionals in my firm at Turenscape practicing nationwide, including the idea of sponge city. But a sponge city is just one of these deep form, the deep connection between nature and culture. There are two levels of deep form. To create deep form, two strategies. The first is planning, regional planning, national planning, and urban planning based on natural process. That's I call it create a configurative deep form. The relationship, the pattern between nature and culture. That's planning. Where is the boundary? Where is the line which nature and which is separate nature and culture, which human beings should never go across, should give back to nature. And the second strategy is to design and to create transformative, which is overlay. Here, you see the campus is well designed because it's overlapping the lava stone. You cannot divide between nature and culture. So this is transformative. So there's two strategies, transformative and configurative. So this is the largest scale configurative design, the national landscape. Where's nature, where's culture? And all the way from regional to community scale. All about the relationship between nature and culture. For example, water. That's in China, we have all the river system, including Yangtze River. But when I did a research back in 2007 with my student at the Beijing University, it turns out that water only needs 0.8% of the land, which means give water more space is affordable. Water didn't take much time. Didn't take much space. Water only needed this percentage of its land. But human beings just don't want to give water space. So we channelize the whole river. The whole river being channelized. But the flood didn't stop. Every year we have flood. So we have to spend billions of dollars every year to to build a concrete wall, try to stop the flood. But imagine we only protect 0.80% of land. So the question raised, why don't we give water to the whole area? Yeah? They only need such a little space. Why bother to spend so much money, so much investment, create high dikes, high dams to protect the city from being flooded? Right? And yet, we always make mistakes. And we always build over the water, take over the floodplain. That's the cause of today's problem. And that's why the biggest project I did is to define where nature should be protected. I call it National Ecological Security Pattern. To secure the minimum area of nature so that nature can provide enough ecosystem services to the society, to the city, including regulation, including production, provision of clean air and water, food, and also sustain life, biodiversity, and also can be beautiful. And the cities can be built like that. Instead of taking water space, we can just avoid taking so sensitive ecological space. That's the development should be based. And at a regional scale, since Beijing expanded 5 times in just, as I've been just 20, about more than 20 years, you can see, exploring. So it used up all the water, all the groundwater. The groundwater dropped 2 meters every year. 2 meters every year, you can imagine. Similar situation, of course, here, yeah. But at the same time, you can say, so our river dry out, but it flood at the same time. River flooded, but at the same time, the river dries. The street becomes a river, and the river becomes dry out. So, and groundwater dropped. But when we did this history, these are the floodable area. In the history, when you look at it. So imagine, if you leave this space alone, the city will be safe. Right? The city will be safe. If you leave this space to green, to nature, water and the city will be in harmony. So these are called the flood security pattern. History will tell us the future. So this place will be floodable in the future. And integrating with water, we can also integrate with habitat, biodiversity, cultural heritage, and green infrastructure, other green infrastructure like pedestrian, bicycle lanes. Together, we call regional ecological infrastructure. That will protect the security of the city from being flooded and also gives the people opportunity for recreation and also give biodiversity enough space. So altogether, this we call green infrastructure that will provide all kinds of ecosystem services and also makes the city beautiful, economically viable also. So instead of exploring based on green infrastructure, the city should be built, integrated to create a configurative pattern between nature. So that's a deep form, the form of urbanism based on the ecological infrastructure. At the medium scale, a city of 10 square kilometers, that's a site. That's a GIS modeling of the site. Look at the blue area. Now those blue areas are a pond system. They were created by farmers back thousands of years ago because they need to cultivate the land. They need to irrigate the rice paddy. During the monsoon season, they will collect the water in the pond. And during the dry season, they use the water to irrigate this field. But today, The modern way of city building is leveling the ground, filling out the pond, make a flat line, and depend on pipelines to drain away all the storm water. But the pipes are made of steel and concrete. They are simply not resilient. They cannot be, they cannot expand. So if you have climate change, the city will be flooded, right? So that's why don't we keep this, we call it the sponge. This is sponge, not only they are the natural sponge, but actually cultural. They are cultural heritage. They have been created by our peoples back thousands of years ago. And these can be integrated into other ecological facilities, including pedestrian bikeways and also urban parks to create a called urban level green infrastructure. And now this green infrastructure will lead to urban development. So I call it a negative approach, which means design or plan this green infrastructure first before any kind of urban development or any kind of cultural innovation. So that's create a city. The city will be nature-based, will be based on ecological infrastructure. There will be no drainage pipes. You don't need a drainage pipe to drain away water. You just keep the water on the ground. Because for over thousands of years, water and the land already balanced based on this sponge system. Yeah? So we developed this master plan. You can see all the drainage will be based on green landscape. No drainage pipe. The water can be on the street. These are residential, the bike lanes, and there's rendering 10 years ago. There's a rendering 10 years ago, and it's built today. You can see water, flood, that's monsoon season, flood, but inside it's all have a very natural-based system. It's water running through and be cleansed by the nature, by green infrastructure. And the water downstream will not be polluted as a corridor based on. So that's I call at this medium scale to build the city based on green infrastructure. So you can save a lot of money. You can save 15% of investment without building the pipes and separate the sewage from the stormwater. And the stormwater management will totally depend on this, we call the sponge, the green sponge. The second strategy is about design. Now, how can you make the big feet, this natural big feet, beautiful at the same time when it is functional as a sponge? So that make me compare, this is a European building, you look at it, this is in Italy. You cannot separate nature from culture. Like this campus, right? It's integrated, it's overlapped. So it's a transformative. It's not a configurative. It's dripping over. The culture dripping over nature. Like here also. The terraces is cultural, but actually it's based on nature. The culture dripping over nature, you create deep form. This deep form. In South America, you have miles, thousands of miles of these kind of terraces before. Yeah, I traveled all the way to Peru. You will see the terraces. The terraces is the wisdom of a stormwater management, actually. It's an adaptation to the monsoon climate. You will not see in Europe. You will not see in England. Yeah? Because they are, the weather there is very mild. You don't have to keep water. The water comes from the sky. But here, you have to develop this cultural wisdom to deal with water. And what do I do is in the past 20 years, we inspired by this very ancient cultural wisdom to create model for engineering, to design it, and to test it, how this can work for today's urban situation. And then make them replicable. Make them replicable because we can use a machine to do it today at a fast, at a massive scale, and more efficiently. And use this module, replicable module, to transform today's landscape, today's urban gray infrastructure into green infrastructure. For example, this is about flood. The first case I want to show you how to deal with flood. Okay? This is great infrastructure we have seen everywhere today. Annual investment to strengthen this kind of concrete wall. But it's totally cut the nature from culture and totally actually unsafe. You know, New Orleans is a good example how this great infrastructure can become a disaster in overnight. Right? Again, against water, similar culture. So this is one example I did back 2003. There was a river being channelized like that. And in the middle of the project, just only 50% of the project being finished, the mayor called me. He cannot go, he cannot finish the project. Why? Because the farmers protest. And the farmers protest. The reason farmers protest because their buffalo cannot get into the water. The buffalo have no water to drink. Right? You can see. And it is so dangerous also for human beings. People get drowned in the water, in the creek, in the stream, because he cannot climb up to this very steep wall in the flood. So that's, engineer will say this is safe. You know? Actually, that's very dangerous. Right? So what should we do? We should remove it. Right? So this is the first project in China almost in 100 years to remove the concrete instead of building with the concrete, to recover the wetland along the river. These are all concrete being removed and being restored, the wetland recovered. This is annual flood. To live with water, to make friend with water, and to let nature come back. Sharing with nature's process. Because the monsoon climate only come here very short. The flood only come here maybe 1 day, 1 week. So the rest of the time, people can use it. But this must be also, of course, must be safe enough. Safe or more safer than the concrete. So we did all this analysis based on GIS. The 10-year flood, 20-year flood, and 50-year flood. So we don't bother to channelize it. We just leave this space alone and turn this area into productive wetland. Can be rice field, can be lotus pond, and can be park. So this is a park which we created based on this based on the natural process, based on the monsoon climate. This was before, this was after. Yeah. You will see it's a dramatic change. No additional space, as we can see. This space. We just design with knowledge, design with wisdom inspired by this ancient wisdom, you can see. And we have created the interior river. This bank will be floodable every 5 years. And the 20-year, 100-year flood will set back, give nature the space, share with nature, and dramatically change the landscape. Now I talk to people here in Mexico City. People will feel, oh, we have taken over, we have no space for river. You know, it's narrow, it's channelized, all the houses are nearby. But actually, we don't need more space. We can solve the problem the other way, such as this kind of design. Make it different. So this is an inner river. This outer river over there. So every day you can use inner river. The water will run through it and cleans it. This vegetation will allow the dirty water to decrease, to filtrate it. Right? So it's multifunctional. It's a sponge. A bigger example is in my hometown, in Zhejiang province, Jinhua. And the engineer will love this kind of structure, right? It's super strong, standardized, yeah. But terrible, to me, yeah. Dangerous, the people also. So remove it, step back. That nature comes into the city. And that's the bank can be like that. Not additional space, but actually the bank used here. We just terrace it, create a resilient space for water and for the people. The flood comes, so let's just flood it. Because flood don't need much more space, as I said. Only need 1% of our national land, based on my knowledge. So it's flooded, but we can still allow people to use the city. So functional still there. And when retreat, the flood retreat, the space go back to the city, come back to the city. Because the dry season, all those people use it. Yeah. So share the space with flood, share the space with water. Now that's the wisdom. All the Delta area people understand that. But we totally forget that. We build high wall to protect the city from being flooded. And the second rule, the second idea about to create deform is to go back to productivity. China, in the past 40 years, 10% of very fertile land being taken over by urbanization. So it's here. We used to, Mexican City used to have a most productive basin in the world, I would say. Now it's all covered by building, by concrete. But at the same time, when you look at the city, some space, in China, 30% of the space should be public space. And those space can be go back to productivity again, can produce food again. Now this is an example I tried in 2002 and built in 2003, again, to turn a campus into a rice paddy campus. The school have no money, at that time, and they wanted the campus to be beautiful, and also wanted to build as soon as possible because it's a school just relocated. So they wanted the school to be built in 6 months. So how can you build a campus in 6 months without budget? Collect stormwater. Water is free. Stormwater is free. Collect it and it irrigates the field and turns the field to become a productive farm. This was when I visited the site 3 months ago. And then this come out 3 months later. You will see become a wheat field, rice paddies today you can see, and the farmers even come here for sheep, for goats. Students, teachers, at a farm basically, but it's a campus, productive campus, produce rice for the restaurant, for the school, and the students studied under the tree, in the field, in the rice paddy. Look at the professor, you can see it, but he's so happy because he can walk above the rice paddies across the field from the library to the classroom. And even the local farmers come here to enjoy the agricultural landscape. And students are involved also in the process. Now that's a cultural process, producing food. At the same time, you understand the cycle of nature. Understand there's a different time, when you will plant, when you will harvest. And that's a culture. To come back to this culture. For students, it's really a celebration. And the patches of rice can stay here during the winter time. Because when I was a farmer, my father told me that when you harvest the rice paddy, you should not cut them off. You should keep patches on the field. Because if you cut them off, the rats, the mice, will go to your home. Right? If you keep rice in the field, the mice will stay in the field eating rice. And then the eagle, the bird will see it and take away. Right? But if the mice go to your home, they eat all your grain. But that's ecology, a deep ecology, create deep form. And they produce rice. Imagine the campus produce rice for their restaurant. Then I expand this example, replicate example across at an even larger scale, urban scale. This is a site, new at the periphery of urban of the city, and that's more than 1 square kilometer in size as a river bank. You can see. Removes concrete, of course, and it covers productive alluvial landscape, and transform this kind of landscape into a farm. This farm is productive, and it's rotating year-round. And certainly this farm is artfully designed. You can see it's still farm. It's still farm, but the people will use the space for recreation, for party, for gathering, and it can be flooded. Annual flood will take the nutrients and fertilize the land. That's the field. As a space for party, for people to take rest, and floating above the monsoon climate if it is flooded. That was before process, that's after. Yeah, you can see people use it every day. Thousands of people come to the farm, and the real estate doubled because of this farm. You can see rotating, seasonal change. Thousands of people, 20,000 people come to the park every day. You can see it's productive, and it becomes a catalyst for urban development. The real estate developer will love this kind of place because people love it, it's productive, and a place for recreation use, of course. Yoga, yeah. There are many yoga teams in this urban park. The third principle, or third example, is to recycle and use the ordinary cultural heritage. In the past 40 years, hundreds of millions of square meters of buildings been wiped out, destroyed, including this kind of industrial site. Now, this is my first project back to China. It's an old shipyard. It was dirty. It was, no one wanted this place, and the city tried to remove it. Relocated. But then I said, no, wait a minute, we have to design first. To design the park before the site being wiped out. So it goes to the site to identify these structures and keep them on site and transform into a beautiful landscape, a park, an art museum here, so that we can ecologically also recover the waterfront as railroads, as the structures, the dock for the ship. It was after, yeah. And ecologically, carefully designed, make it a sponge. Again, a sponge is resilient waterfront, as that was before, and this after. You can see, look at it, right? There's no building here. There's some building over there, but after it was built, after this little only 10 hectare shipyard was transformed, suddenly becoming an attraction of all the investment. Even Sheraton come, 5-star hotel, So several five-star hotel come to this area. This becomes the most expensive apartment building in the whole city. Yeah. And again, stormwater management, waterfront, remove all the concrete, and then they use to recycle this structure, and this site now becomes a wedding place. 2,500 couples of weddings happen here. It's become a cultural and also certainly ecologically interesting. And all these become massive nature. And for this massive nature, define a new aesthetics back in the city. You see another wedding, a new kind of aesthetics, not as little feet anymore, it's big feet, yeah, genes, native species, low maintenance, high performance, yeah. Wedding again, structure come back, and of course, there's a story, memory, keeps the memory of the site. It's a red culture in China in 1950s and 60s and 70s, where we reclaim this culture. This kind of culture gives memory to create this entrance, a gate, a gateway entrance, red color, tells a red story of the past years. Fairly short history, but still you have to keep it, remember it. You know, compared to 5,000 years history of ancient time, this 50 year, 30 year is also important. We have to remember it. That's a gateway. Look at the color, very Chinese, but it reflect here. It was the same color, same color. Yeah. And number 4, principle number 4, how to reform, is to minimize intervention and maximize output. Today, we engineer use maximize operation, like concrete, the skills, these bulldozing, and all the factories, all these engineering solutions to create, channelize all the rivers. No, that's too much. Too much. Why don't just make minimum? Nature. Let nature stay. Let nature. Very little intervention. Even the native, all wild native grass, massive nature. But just only one bench, human intervention, a bench, red bench, totally transforms the landscape. Nothing else. That's one bench for seating, for lighting, and can be built overnight. Simple. And very simple. Very little. And all the trees, all the shrubs are here. You see, the massive nature suddenly become ordered, become beautiful, become attractive. See, look at the whole village come here. It's 3 ladies here, and that's in the morning and in the night. That's still here. Yeah. So beauty don't have to be big, don't have to be expensive. Right? Little transformation will maximize transformation. That's a little bench, a little ribbon transforms the whole image. And it was before and after a bench, before and after. Always you can see hundreds, thousands of people just use this bench. The bench, by the way, is 500 meters long. It was before 30, but after. Before and after. So minimize intervention and maximize the benefit, the services you see in the winter. The fifth strategy or the fifth principle is a grow cross. Sponge city. Create sponge. To manage water. To create a water resilient city. That's the Delta area. Pearl River Delta area. It was a marsh before people occupied this area. But we have somehow developed this space by cut and fill, create a porous, sponge-like pond and dike system, so that this place can become livable, inhabitable. And this will be a solution for today's problem. Now, this is a central part in North China's Chengli city. This was before. So my solution will be cut and fill. Very simple. Inspired by ancient wisdom. Just cut and fill, and don't have to even build the whole park. We just do the periphery, minimize, and create a filtrator, a spongy filtrator, allow the stormwater to go into the park, and the park will be function as a filtration system. Dirty water become clean water, and then it charges the aquifer. That's in charge of aquifer. This is a scale. You can see is how density. You can see densely occupied. But this park become a sponge park. Right? Underneath and cut fill, create a sponge system, and use one machine only. Only one machine to cut and fill. To cut and fill, cut and fill, and just today. See, it's spongy. Willows grow naturally, and here the trees on the top of the mound, and people walk along here on the platform. That was built in 2011, and that's today. It was before, and this is after. Right in the middle of the city, we have this water regulating sponge system. And the catalyst, you see, it was 2011. Little happened. And in 2014, in just 3 years, this sponge become a catalyst for urban development. The real estate value, the property value doubled, as I mentioned. Yeah. And that's a process, simple filtrating system, a green sponge right in the middle of the city. Biodiversity increase, species, birds come into the city, and so as people. Yeah. And bird watching, pavilion, a little touch, stone pavilion, bamboo pavilion, wood pavilion. Now that's human being minimum architecture, but create a vast experience of the sponge. And the sponge can be at your backyard. This is the smallest sponge garden I did in France, to test how this can happen in other cultures. Because today climate change also causes flood. It used to be very mild climate in Europe. The flood also happens in Europe today. So that create a cut and fill, create a pond, a sponge pond, and a filtrating system. Yeah? Filtrating through this gravel, the vegetation, and create a clean pond that reflecting the sky, and become an art installation. Here become a fashion show place, a fashion show in France. Very simple, again, the Chinese bamboo, and there's a winding path. Yeah. And soil. Another big problem is the soil. Our soil is polluted in urban areas. We call it brownfield. Now, brownfield can be very expensive to treat. Back in America, if you treat a brownfield, it is very expensive. But you have to change the soil. But why consider this idea of sponge again? Collect storm water. So water can filtrate, particularly this alkaline soil. The water is acid, and it developed the idea to collect storm water and mix with the soil, and the soil will be haptical. That was before, and this after. Yeah? Pond system. Yeah? It was after. Pond system. You create habitat right in the middle of the city with minimum expense. Use nature. Nature take over. People love it. People love it because you put people right in the middle of the city, in the middle of the nature, and the nature in the city. Look at how the biodiversity increase. Is it just 5-6 years? How the soil, the quality of soil also been transformed and changed. What about water pollution? I mentioned at the beginning. 75% of water is polluted. If all the water goes to the sewage plant, it will be very expensive and even incapable to treat this kind of water. This lake is a lake in China. That's the same in Yunnan. Yunnan is the same altitude, same elevation like Mexico City. There's no way to solve the problem. So the solution, again, we imagine this nature-based solution based on the agricultural process. That's Shanghai. A river is heavily polluted. The soil is polluted also. So learn from the agriculture. Learn from our ancient wisdom to let the water run through a terraces, a system terrace to filtrate the polluted water and turn the dirty water into clean water, into very clean water. Now that's how it works. Cascade wall create oxygen in the water, and the water will then become fertilizer, and vegetation will come out, covered by all this vegetation, and that was before, and this process cultivating the land, and then recover. And these all become filtrated. You see terraces as this process, and the one vegetated. Now that's the whole process, or let water run through it as the after. That's the process of filtrating system. And after 1 month, the water comes out crystal clean, you can see, crystal clean. And this water is swimmable. So 1 hectare of this constructed wetland can clean 800 cubic meters of water. So that's nature-based solution. That's my students' test of the site. You can see total phosphorus 85% cleaned up. And it's a process of harvesting. It's an agricultural process. And it's productive. So productivity and pollution cleansing can be happen at the same time as different crops and biodiversity at the same time. As soon as you have biomass, you will create all kinds of species biodiversity come back to the city. And of course, it should be designed artfully, recycling of the steel, creating an artifact, weeds. These weeds can be beautiful, integrated, and they also massive nature, flower, meadow comes into the city. People just love it. Now this test, this experiment can be replicable at larger scale. This is even larger scale in Hainan Island. Similar climate here. Polluted river, been channelized, all this, for 20 years. People don't know how to do it. Because it's densely populated, you see? The densely populated. All the river in concrete, channelized. So our solution is to create an ecological infrastructure, the green infrastructure, to remove all the concrete and terracing the bank to become filtrated, to become a concentrated wetland, and let the water filtrating through all these green infrastructure. That's literally happened. You see how the concrete will be removed. And the bank will be transformed into terrace, as terracing. Just take 1 year. Transform, remove all the concrete, see, as a process, as built. So this is a huge scale water remediation project, but at the same time, it becomes a public park, a green corridor. You can see a green corridor. This is a filtering system, terraces, is a public park. Certainly, we have tests to show that it's public health, it's okay for the public health. It's not intoxicated. Only sewage, only polluted nutrient-rich water. So this is a concrete, recycle the concrete, become islands. And we recycle the concrete and turn them into islands. And island become a buffer between water and land. We can see also how the water cleans the process. Public park. And it can be beautiful. method also, measuring how you can see how the nitrogen, the nutrients, can be removed back about 85%. The water can basically decrease by the whole process. And the whole river can be relaxed out. So this is a transformation of the whole river. Yeah? It was before 1970s. After 1980s, the river being channelized, concrete. This is what we propose. Keep all the trees, remove concrete, integrate it with recreational facilities, and integrate the whole urban design, urbanism. It's the revitalization and the renewal of urban the city. The ecology, urban renewal, and the cleansing of water altogether. It was before, so after. You see, our facility are creating orchestra, catching water. That was before, this is after. Before, after. But always integrate with design. I know you have 7,000 architectural students. We have to have a job, right? Design, make it beautiful, but always integrate with ecology. And the whole city can be transformed. Even the river can be done, the whole city can be done. We have such messy problem here. The river runs through the city, little space, the wetland upstream, the dump in the city, stormwater. We need to create a whole green infrastructure. Remove the concrete, create daylighting these tributaries, create green infrastructure, wetland introduced, and stormwater garden at your backyard, on the roof. You create a whole system. Now this system should not be expensive, because it's just a recovery of nature, as was before, and this after. There was before, and this after. And now we have other projects in other parts of the world, like this in Russia, Lake Kaban, in Kazakhstan, Kaban, Kazan city. This is Kaban Lake, a huge lake, polluted, heavily polluted, and the waterfront is just there, no activity. This was before. This is our rendering sponge system. That's after. It's built. 50,000 people every day use it during the summer. 50,000 people you can see. It's how packed. Packed waterfall. You can see it's terraces, filtering water. So when you clean the water, you actually create public space at the same time. You see how people love it. Just packed with people. It's a recovery of waterfall. So people always worry, okay, investment, ecology. Come on, but it's an economy. So it is an economy. Finally, I want to give you one smaller case, so little case, to show you that even in densely populated area like Mexican City, you can always start with your home. Start with your own balcony. As I mentioned, 50 billion square meters of buildings in China, but none of them are energy efficient, water resilient. None of them. So we have to solve the problem. Architects should solve the problem. So I collect. This is my own apartment. It's a normal apartment. But I bought the top, the roof, the 5th floor and the 4th floor. It's a lot. So I collect stormwater, transform the apartment by collecting stormwater and energy, and turn the balcony into a vegetable garden. And also I turn the wall into a little green wall, a sponge wall, and it recycles the stormwater in the building. That's my balcony, productive balcony. Every other day I will have a plate of vegetable come from this balcony. There's another garden, another balcony. Stormwater collected, stored here, and recycled, reused as my bedroom. Gardenia is a flower, fragrant flower. That's my living room. The liquid with the wall recycles the stormwater and cool off the temperature in summer. In Beijing, it is very hot during the summer, and in winter it's very dry. So this wall will function as a climate mediator. Like how it grows, you see. 2010, 13, 14. Little maintenance, only use stormwater, only cycle the stormwater. This is today. That's today. After 10 years. And not only it cool off the building or liberate the climate, it also emitted a gas called Joule smell. Now this Joule smell is a cure for depression. A cure, a smell like rock, like soil. And it becomes a learning classroom for community people, community members. They come here to visit and learn about how every home can be transformed into green sponge room, regulator of temperature and collect stormwater. So it's a small solution. But if every family, every apartment will function as a green home, you can collect at least 30% of stormwater of the city during the monsoon season. So there will be no flood. There will be no flood because you can, as a community garden, as a park, as a street, can collect another 30% of stormwater. So the city itself will become a sponge, solve the problem. So to conclude, facing the unprecedented massive scale and the understandable transformation of the earth, unsustainable transformation of the earth, and the devastating and ecological degradation. Obviously, the side effect of industrialization and urbanization, we needed to revolutionize our approach to reconfigure the relationship between nature and development. Heal and transform the degraded environment. It's a big food revolution. The nature-based solution inspired by ancient wisdom to create deep connection and deep forms. Small-scale project, but have big vision, national scale, global scale, right? So that we can create a safe planet, a healthy planet. Thank you. Thank you. So as I say, I call it think like a king, a big vision, the nation, the territory, but act like a peasant. Very simple. Or a peasant do it thousands of years ago. It's not so difficult. So this I call design ecologies. It's design ecologies. It's man-made ecology, but at the same time it influences the leadership, the authority, the president, the mayors, the minister to take the decision to make it to develop the changing policy. And we just use very simple technique. Thank you. Thank you.
Abrimos la sesión de preguntas para todos los estudiantes.
Hi. On the river, all the water treatment systems you have, how do you treat bacteria and all the pathogenous agents in the water? Is it part of the filtration system? Which part of the filtration system does the bacteria take and all the basically the bacteria and all the contamination of the water? Biological.
You mean the bacteria?
Bacteria, yeah.
You mean the sewage?
The what?
So you mean the sewage? Okay, yes, I think that I just mentioned. You must be tested for public health. Yeah, so you need a pre-treatment. Pre-treatment. The pre-treatment will kill the bacteria easily. I mean, bacteria is an easy storage. It can be easy. But the other stuff also you have to consider, like the antibiotics. you have heavy metal, antibiotics, you have bacteria. So you have to pre-treat the water a little bit. I didn't mention here, but it's another process, very simple process. But the nutrients, it's a pre-treatment. It can be from the sewage plant. The sewage plant will treat, but you don't have to treat, because in sewage plant, it's an industrial process. It's very difficult to treat nitrogen and the phosphorus. But also nitrogen and where the energy costs a lot to treat the nitrogen and the phosphorus. So, but the ecological process and biological process is very easy to treat nitrogen and phosphorus. Yeah. So that is a combination. So I don't want to whip up all the industrial technology, by the way. But well integration. It's a well integration with the ancient wisdom and farming and the biological wisdom. Oh, yeah. Mexican, I know. I'm sure you have a huge problem of water, particularly. I think you. Okay. you can do it. It's doable. I would say it's doable. Yeah, because you have such rich wisdom. The ancient culture here. They cultivate this area for a long time, and all the terraces actually a management system for water, storm water. And the floating garden, it becomes such a sustainable cultivation system.
Some questions here. How do you manage the speculation of the land or the property issues, costs, and also the whole cost of the interventions?
The neighborhood.
No, about your interventions. Because of the
cost. Who pays? Who pays?
No, who pays? How much?
How much? Okay.
How much per average?
Yeah. It depends. Like the park is maybe, if you turn into dollar, it will be $30 maybe. Like the rice paddy will be very cheap. Only $1 per square meter. The rice paddy, the construction rice paddy. Right? These are government. Well, in China we have different system. We have government. Yeah. But it's tax money, right? Tax money, the same. I would say. So that's why you can minimize the investment. That's why revenue is minimum intervention. The rest of just nature. Yeah? Low maintenance. You just decide on what we should do it. And human's identity. But nature will go massive. I think that's one of the principles to create achieve a less expensive or not expensive landscape. Yeah, because many things can be very expensive. But farmer, you can imagine, farm is the most cheap process. Yeah, so very very cheap. Cultivating simple technology, but today farming becomes expensive because we use so much fertilizer. It's chemical fertilizer. We use so much herbicide. We spend so much, because we don't recycle those nutrients. Yeah, it's all linear. Yeah, all linear. Yeah. So it's about to recycle the use of all these material, energy, and biomass as make. So it's a recovery of ecological, recovery of ancient wisdom. But then we are not nostalgic. We have to upgrade. Upgrade.
Here, another question. Here.
Yeah.
How's it going with this big food revolution in your letters to the leaders of China? How's it?
How it goes?
Yeah.
This book, this is a new translation by Professor Michael Sokin in New York. But the original book was published in 2003. example, I proposed a smart city already in 2003, and also the ecological security pattern is a planning. It's a planning. We need I call negative approach to create a big feed. So negative means you create a natural bigger feed, so it can function and provide services, free services for the city. I write a letter to mayor, to prime minister. I have like a 5 letter to the prime minister and the president. And certainly some letter will be no response. You donate, do not expect any letter to be getting response from the president, right? But at least 2 of my letters will respond very well. One is about the security pattern. It's a nationwide ecological security pattern, which you have to define first before any problem. And now it becomes a national regulation. Because the president, as a prime minister, says that we need an ecological security pattern, national scale. So we did a master plan for the Ministry of Environmental Protection, and it now become legalized. 2 years ago, become legalized. So it's become a national movement, which way you have to define where is it unbuildable. Land use will become illegal. And another is, of course, smart city. Smart city become a national movement. As you can see, many media coverage, of course, and it was back 2012. The Sponge Park was first name of Sponge Park was built back 2012 and was awarded by Landscape Architecture Excellence Award. And it was broadcast in Chinese media, in Chinese Central Television. And the president and his team immediately catch the idea. So he announced that we should build a sponge city nationwide. So a year later, 30 projects, 30 cities become model for the sponge city. Now, a year later, the central government announced that every city should become sponge city, following the sponge city idea. So it's become so effective, I would say. It is a kind of revolution. We call it ecological revolution or ecological civilization. Yeah. But you cannot expect that it can happen overnight. Project can be built, as I said, when I back in China, I only have myself and my wife, so we built a small firm. Now we have 600 people. Because the mayors call us to do the sponge city, call us when they cover the river. We need it. We need it. So that's why I think you have to use the political process in order to design the product. I think it's so far I feel it's successful. Yeah.
Well, Mexico City used to be a swamp, and we've worked for hundreds of years to build this huge coffin to keep all the water on the ground, and now it's becoming a problem, obviously. Have you ever seen the city as a study case, and what would your thoughts be how to free all this water back?
Well, yes, I think it is every time I'm in the school in US or in my own country, I always use Mexico as a case. That's why when Daniel and Marcos approached me, I'm so happy to hear the actually to see how this case can turn on the other side. Instead of become a bad example, can be a good example. Because it's all mistake happening here. It happened on the part of the world, right? So it is really a good example how human beings messed up the natural system. But now we'll say that how this generation, a wiser generation, can recover in a wiser way, in a smarter way. Certainly we will not go back to the lake before, second we cannot recover the accident times Mexican city, but certainly we will create a new know-how ecosystem which will be in harmony with nature. It's a design ecology. It's design. It's human-made. Again, it's man-made. But because we have all this knowledge accumulated in the past hundreds of years, I think we should be confident that we can build a new Mexican city. And it's a showcase. It's a showcase for the world. You know, we have all the problems global-wise. We have Africa, Southeast Asia, and Malaysia, Indonesia. You know, Indonesia have to move to the capital. You can imagine, you know. But you can move to Mexico City. so that I think it can become, it will continually become a model of example study and testing and become. I would say all people. So you Mexico people will love it. The UN people, the UN, the World Bank will love it to make a good model of rebuilding system. It cannot be, it should not be expensive. I would say affordable. Compare how much you spend in this great infrastructure, how much you put underground, put in water, all the concrete. Yeah, this nature-based solution, I think will be for the future for Mexico City. Maybe you need just 20 years to transform the city, which can last for thousands of years. Yeah. Yeah.
I understand the rapid transformation that has happened in China in the last few decades. It can be seen in the images of some of your parks, where you see the park and then a lot of buildings around. What I still find a huge disconnection between architecture and the new landscapes proposed, aesthetically and also functionally. So, have you been involved in any project that also defines certain parameters for architecture as well, or what would your ideas be for transforming architecture in the same way as that?
I didn't show architecture. Actually, my firm is also we are multidisciplinary. A third of professionals in my Turenscape actually architects, the trained architects. So we are across the boundary. There's no boundary. I can see the landscape go into your building, right? We have many buildings, which the roof can be green, and the architecture, but certain different scale. At the urban scale, at the community scale, the architecture, the configurative relationship, the building and nature, it can be a deep form, I would say. It will be connected, must be connected. Yeah. And you have good example here already. Louis Baraban have nature and building are all together. There's no separate, no boundary almost. Yeah. So in my firm, we always impressed. We always impressed. And green building, I think, is a big thing. And green building, again, nature-based. Like here, you don't need air conditioning, right? You don't need the light. I mean, I stay in Daniel's home. It's so well designed. It's a natural light. It's coming into the building. That's amazing. For us doing. Yeah? So I think it's architecture landscape the same. The whole idea is about nature-based solutions. We should not use air conditioner as much as possible. We should not use artificial light as much as possible. This is all the same. I see the same things. Yeah.
My question is, when you combine nature with architecture, what species do you use when you design? Because living here in Mexico is very important because, as a biologist, we always think like Mexico is a very rich country with plants and species. So my question is, do you have a vegetal palette that you use? Do you introduce another species, or what plants, or what do you? In what do you base to work with plants in your design?
Yeah, plants, yes. I spent a day with Professor Carlos. I And plants, as I see, is a well-like system. Different plants have different function of nutrient removal. Yeah. So that's a field for biologists to do deep figure, a deep figure. Yeah. Some species are more functional. Some species even can remove the metal, remove those heavy metals. Yeah. So I think that's a very, if you think about nature-based design, this will be a field for biologists to think about how can make use of the species. Yeah, rich, create data knowledge, create a knowledge base for this kind of design. Before, the biologists would think about ornamental, how well can be beautiful. That's why I was educated. It was a horticulture. But today, more important is to talk about go back to nature, let nature species itself function instead of just showing, should have deep form instead of a shallow, beautiful form. It should be deep form, functional, also beautiful.
Here. Thank you. I love this kind of tribal design ecology because I like to express, to mention, because you don't say the terms of this kind of new way of thinking the nature, biomimetics. I don't know if you, in this kind of projects, if you mention the concept, because biomimetics is like design, but the new design is a bio design. It's very, very important to mention the term biomimetics because in Mexico City, Institute, not is a common word, but I think you use this kind of these new concepts. Biodesign or biomimetics?
Biomimetics. Okay. Biomimicry. Well, biomimicry is another thing. But it's another thing. It's inspired by mimicking the nature, right? Mimicking nature. But I think it's different. It's not mimicking nature. It's design nature. It's design nature. So it's because of our understanding the process of nature. So by designing nature, we actually create a more functional, more efficient ecosystem. Yeah, it's a design ecosystem. Yeah. It is some part of mimicry, but it's not. Yeah, some difference. Yeah, some difference. Yeah. But it inspired, certainly inspired by biological or ecological process.
Yeah. Hello. Well, I have two questions. One of mine and one of my friends here. The first one, mine, and I was thinking that you design projects which are productive. I mean, they are farms, and you have the physical infrastructure. But I was wondering, who are these people that work here? I mean, I will call it social infrastructure, because they are inside urban areas, and I think, for example, in Mexico City, there are not farmers inside the urban areas. So who are these people? I mean, how do you work with them?
Yeah, that's true. That means that you have to think about the social infrastructure. Yeah. I think in many of the projects, I mean, my home, certainly I work there, right? My sister works there. So it's all depend on who is about the project. But mainly, this project will maintain managed by either by community, the community, if there's a property belongs to community, or used by community, or by, in China, it's like city landscape building at the city level. So we have this infrastructure. It's because it's a more top-down system, organized. Yeah. Back in school, the campus or the students manage it. The students, people love it. The students love it. So it can be managed. Yeah. Different way, different situation. Yeah.
Hi. I've been thinking about the health characteristics that share with China. My question is, which is your opinion or advice in landscape architecture on Mexico?
My advice to landscape architecture. That's difficult. Well, you have great landscape architects here. Luis Barragan, Mario Jana, my friend also. I visited many of the projects here. It's a wonderful project. Barragan's project is beautiful. And you have, I think you have very distinctive quality, character. Mexican character. You can easily recognize it. It's beautiful. And climate, you have so unique species, unique plant species. Yeah. I think you just need a bigger landscape program here. Need a stronger program and produce more students, but at the same time, I think we need a new boundary, a new frontier. Yeah, new frontier. So frontier is to think out of the box, because the landscape is a problem here everywhere. Everywhere in the world. Architects is dominant, right? So it's always put landscape architect as a paradigm, to the margin space, to think you are gardening. But that's totally true. That's not true. Landscape should think global, planet, continental, national scale. That's why I particularly say that we should think like a king. Right? The first king in China in ancient mythology, back 3,000, 5,000 years ago, is actually a landscape planner, a landscape architect. He is the person who uses the rule, uses the measure to divert water, to manage water, to manage the land resources, to locate the city. I can imagine if the early Aztec people actually are landscape architects, work, because they know how to use the water, how to cultivate the land, and how to divide the salt water with fresh water, and how to make a marsh habitable. And build a house on the marsh is a wisdom, and build terraces on the slope is a wisdom. To mediate the monsoon climate is a wisdom. It needs a long history of accumulating of the trails, the tribe, error, success. So that's why you have the wisdom. So that I think is for Mexican professional landscape architecture, you should just rediscover the boundary of our profession. You have to discover the ancient wisdom which will define our profession of landscape architecture as the king's art of stewardship, the art of survival. Go back to the art of survival. That's I think professional landscape architecture. Yes? You do.
Well, if the interaction is as little as possible, what about the nature reclaiming side? I mean, how do you avoid the nature displays your direct architecture? Is the maintenance and connection now to all the nature?
Yeah.
How do you avoid the nature displays your architecture if it is as little as possible the interaction? si la intervención es tan mínima, ¿cómo es posible que la naturaleza no reclame su territorio? ¿Qué es lo que evita esto? ¿Solo la planeación y mantenimiento lo hace posible?
Okay, well, that's a good question. How to minimize intervention, but at the same time not be taken over by nature, right? Yeah, that's very tough question. Remember the red ribbon? That I designed red ribbon. Why use red? Right? It's strong. It's minimal intervention for the strong, right? When it's a tiger, when the tiger goes to natural territory, in the natural landscape, he keeps scratching. It's a spark, right? A spark of the tree in order to create identity, to create the territory. Human beings, certainly we need identity, but identity don't have to be massive. The red color, which you cannot, well, you can, but you cannot see in nature, right? See the kind of color. Flamingo maybe, but this color more strong than any nature can do. That's why you define human being, the existence of human being will never be taken over by nature. But to minimize human's impact on nature. So I think that's why we need identity. Human beings always need identity. But some people try to create a monument to claim his identity. But I think the ecological design means that we claim our identity, but without sacrificing the nature. That's right. So we're not. Human being is always. I don't think nature will take over human existence. Like the storm, like the Maya storm, right? It's there, whatever. It's a ruins. Class. I mean, the monument is class. But there's human scar.
How does the Chinese government deal with informal urban settlements and industrial pollution?
That's right. Industrial pollution?
Yes, with the big industrial cities, when you need to treat it before.
Informal, yeah, it is actually, we don't like South America. We have, massive scales of informal settlements. China, we don't have this kind of urban informal settlements, but we do have called urban villages. Urban villages. The urban villages is a village in which they build some illegal buildings, make very dense and illegal to some degree for people to have that. So now the Chinese government actually make a lot of effort to clean those things, to take over the illegal buildings. We call it illegal is informal, no regulation. Those happen in China. Well, in this, American and the European people will criticize this process because we just wipe out also illegal building, but actually those are illegal because they take over all these natural space, take over water, take over wetland. So that's the Chinese government is very tough. They just remove it. But certainly you get a compensation. You should get paid. And the industrial pollution, it is certainly, and the Chinese government right now is very tough. Shut down some of the factories, create clean air. Certainly that's not may not be sustainable, but introducing new technology to clean up, at the same time remove it, relocate it. But usually those also not sustainable. The most sustainable solution the Chinese government is pushing is to create green solution, green energy. We build a lot of solar energy and wind wheels and all this, and also try to upgrade this factory to make reduce emission less. Yes.
And do you know our sponge city of Xochimilco, Flowers? Have you been there?
Yeah, it's a sponge city. I mean, yeah. I visited 3 years ago, which actually installation I put on my book, actually. There's one picture of Xochimilco here in my book. That's why I tell you that the knowledge is here. The knowledge is here. We just expand it and upgrade it and more efficient. Turn into design very hard, design function. Beautiful also.
I say something in Spanish. Primero queremos agradecer a Daniel Dulcín la presencia de Kongjian Yu hoy en la facultad y en la universidad. Ha sido gracias a un esfuerzo enorme que él ha realizado y a muchas gestiones para poder contar con la presencia de Kongjian Yu hoy en la facultad. Te quiero agradecer en nombre de la universidad todo el esfuerzo que has hecho, que nos has motivado, nos has invitado a poder participar en este proyecto. And on behalf of the university, first I want to thank you for something you said. There are small solutions to big problems. Because that gives us the clue for many times we think this is impossible. And you said small solutions to big problems. And through the lecture you have let us see through a window, or we could have seen us in a mirror with you after what happened before and what is happening right now. So that gives us the possibility to rethink what we are doing in Mexico, and of course to see landscape as not just these beautiful gardens, but landscape as part of the ecology and of the planning process in cities as important as those you have shown us in China and in other places like Russia. So thank you very much for sharing us all your knowledge and all your experience, because I think this would be very important for all of us that have been here. And on behalf of the university, I want to give you this, we call it reconocimiento in Spanish. Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México, la Facultad de Arquitectura, gives you this paper for having shared with us today this conference that has let us think again about landscape maybe. Thank you very much. Thank you. Has a symbol. This symbol is the cultural center of the university. Perhaps you can go there afterwards. And this means that art now, yesterday, and today, they share in life. And we have a lot of stuff. Thank you very much.